Watching golf news kicking back, where Croatia have booked their places in the quarterfinals of the FIFA World Cup after a dramatic penalty shootout victory over Japan. The match had ended 1-1 after 120 minutes of action. Japan, in fact, had taken the lead. They had played so well in that match, but Croatia came back with a second half equaliser. No other goals were scored in extra time. The match went to penalties, and Sham, I have to say, those Japan spot kicks were probably the worst I think I've ever seen. What did you make of those?
No, I think more than you're right. I totally agree there. Simply because more than the keeper, none of the kicks lack any punch power or direction. They're, like you said, they are some of the worst penalties I myself have seen. We've seen a lot of penalty shootouts, but this is probably one of the worst, really, because it more than the keeper, it was the quality of the kicks. They didn't attack the kicks in the sense like you need to be aggressive even in penalties. I mean, the body language itself was bad enough, and none of the penalties packed any punch. I think in the penalties, Croatia were head and shoulders above, and they deserved to win the penalties.
Satish, Croatia's history in penalties is far better. In the last World Cup, 2018, two of the games went to penalties, and they won both of those. The only time Japan have had penalties was in 2010, and they lost. And like Sham says, you could see the players when they were walking up, they didn't look confident at all. When you're feeling that nervous, isn't it just better just to blast the ball as hard as you can rather than try to place it like so many of the players did, and they never got the balls into the corners? It was a really poor penalty shootout from Japan.
Yes, Imran. Again, we can say a lot, but what happens is the nerves, because they are not in this position in the past. So obviously that must be playing on their mind, and they must be saying, somehow I'll put the ball in. So no, they didn't have the confidence to do that. Maybe that's the reason why the shots lacked the punch. Whereas Croatia's experience they showed, because they have won 2 penalties so far, and they know exactly what to do. And because I've been there and done that, makes a lot of difference than somebody who's doing it for the first time. Maybe when next time when Japan comes to the penalties in the near future, then they will be able to do better, because this is an unknown territory for them. So you can't blame them because they don't have the experience. But all in all, it was a pretty good keeping as well from Croatian Livakovic, isn't it? So he did well as well. So brilliant effort from
Croatia. I mean, Livakovic he made 3 stops, but to be honest, Sham, those 3 that he had to save, they were really poor. I mean, he didn't really have to dive much either. Minamino's first one just set the tone. He put the ball down and he strode up, and he didn't catch it at all. It was almost down the middle. It was a poor attempt. And unfortunately, all the good work that Japan have done in this tournament, beating Germany, beating Spain, taking Croatia all the way and outplaying them, it's all undone from 3 really poor penalties.
It's a tragedy, really, because for all this, what do you call it, a very energetic display, and I mean the end was rather limp. I would say they went out with a whimper, really. I mean, penalties. I would think that when you come to the knockouts, every team would have prepared for penalties, and you know it in your back of the mind that at some point you have to take penalties. But it looks absolutely, I'm absolutely sure that Japan didn't seem to have enough adequate preparations for the penalties, because the way they took it was so poor. It's almost like, I don't think even club level you see better penalties than this. Of course, I mean, I know that's not to take away any credit from Livakovic. Of course, finally you need to anticipate the direction, which he did. But then they were so weak that I didn't think he didn't have to do much. I mean, he just caught them.
He didn't at all. But Satish, this team have done their country proud. The Japanese people will be super proud of this team for what they've achieved to get out of the group, and like I said, to beat Germany and to beat Spain. Just sum up how impressed you've been with them in this tournament.
I was extremely impressed so far in this tournament, but today I think somehow the lack of confidence showed, because I think that's where they couldn't score the goals which normally they would have scored. They're going all the way up to the goal mouth, and once inside the box, they are not able to break through and don't know where to go. So again, like, it's a lack of experience, but I would say they have done quite well to what because as Sham said, they were not prepared, because they might not be prepared even to play quarterfinals against Germany and Spain. So it was absolute shocker for them, maybe even. So that way, I think they did quite well in reaching the last 16. But yes, they could have done better than what they did in this game.
Sean, Croatia have reached the quarterfinals. During this match, they substituted Luka Modric, 37-year-old. I mean, he gave everything in the match. It wasn't anything else that he could do, and he was obviously clearly very worried when he went to penalties, thinking that was probably his last World Cup match. But no, he survives. He's going to be around for at least one more. How good do you think he's been, and do you think Croatia? I mean, do you think Croatia have to do a lot more than what they've done so far in this tournament? They've been very, they drew against Morocco 0-0. Okay, they scored 4 against Canada, but that wasn't. I think most teams could have put 2 or 3 goals past them, and they got a draw against Belgium in their group game. So they really weren't that adventurous going forwards. And today, for long periods of the game, they were being pinned back by Japan, by some lovely intricate football by the Japanese, in fact. So do you think now that we have to surely see a bit more creativity from Croatia now that they're in the quarterfinals?
I don't see Croatia progressing beyond the quarterfinals. This is also rather fortuitous, as I would say, simply because Japan could not drive home the advantage. Actually, Japan were very good in the first half. I mean, they were all over them. And I expected Japan to come out with a lot more energy, which we have seen in this other matches. If you look at the upsets against Germany and Spain, the second half of they were really going at the opposition, which we didn't see so much in this match. But instead, they had a completely different strategy. They came out firing all cylinders in the first half, really. But they kind of lost out steam towards the end, I thought. But as for Modric, I was surprised that he was substituted because Modric was still calling the shots. I know he's not been so fast enough, but at 37 you would expect that. But he was still doing the stuff only he can do. He's been finding the slots. He's been finding the gaps. He's been sending those passes. I would even have expected him to take the penalty kick because he means so much to the Croatians that I would have loved to see him taking one of those spot kicks, really. So, but coming back to, again, Croatia's performance, they've been quietly competent, but they've been pretty organized. It's part of the reason they've progressed so far is their experience. And they have an experienced bunch, I think. A lot of in Kovacic and Modric, and most of the guys have been to World Cup before, so they know how to do this tournament play. So even when they fell behind on some of the earlier matches, they quietly clawed back into the game, and they're very good at that. But I thought they were a little poor today, and I think they don't have the stuff to really progress beyond quarterfinals.
I think Coach Zlatko Dalic would have been very worried when he substituted Modric, and then the game went into extra time. Because you're right, Shah, Modric would have definitely been probably the first one to put the ball down, take the penalties, and definitely score as well. In the end, Croatia didn't need him. They go through. Commiserations to Japan. They've been entertaining and brilliant this whole tournament. But it can only be one winner, and Croatia has done it. Right now, yesterday was a huge game for England against Senegal. Now, this one, had a potential upset written all over it. But I think Gareth Southgate got his tactics and his team selection, more importantly, spot on. And in the end, England strolled to a 3-0 win. Sean, what did you make of England yesterday?
Oh, England was a huge surprise for me because I expected the match to be much closer than what it turned out to be. Because England actually killed the game with those goals, actually. And with those goals, it completely blew Senegal out of the game. Because if you look at before the first goal arrived, Senegal was all over England, and I mean there was almost like a goal coming any minute. And when the first goal came, and I think when the Henderson goal came, I think that really took the air out of the Senegalese, and the second goal even further. And by then the fight has gone over Senegal, and England were all over them. And going forward into the quarterfinals, I think this win will do a world of good for not just England in the sense like it will do a world of good for their confidence, really. And like you said, I think finally Gareth Southgate is getting too close to where he wants or what the team he wants. I was quite happy with the way the team he put out there, the tactics he employed. But I hope he doesn't go back to his five-man defense in the next match, because he against France, I think he will be very worried about Kylian Mbappe, especially after the show he put on. So he might go into his five-man defense mode, which I don't think will suit England. But let's wait and see.
I think it'll be a risky move now, Sham, to change a winning team. He didn't change this team against the Wales match. He kept the same team, and they went on and proved to be too good for the Senegalese yesterday. But Satish, like Sham says, England are now playing France on Saturday in the quarterfinal, and with Mbappe in the kind of form that he's currently in, you know, I mean, how do you see this game going? It should be a very entertaining watch, because now England have scored 12 goals in their 4 games at this World Cup. They've had 3 clean sheets as well. So they're looking very strong at the back, and they're looking very good going forwards against a France team who are also doing the same thing, looking very good going forwards and strong at the back. So something has to give, right? What's going to happen on Saturday?
No, it's a cracker of a game. We are all waiting. That's what quarterfinals are going to be, isn't it? Because maybe it could be Brazil who will be playing Croatia also. So the quarterfinals are heating up, and we are also looking at some more exciting contests. But in this contest, I think England will face a good match in France, because it's not about one person, Mbappe alone. Yes, he's the central figure, but I think there are about 3 or 4 other contenders who could threaten your goal. So that the defense will be tested probably for the first time. So it's going to be a brilliant game, England versus France. But let's see. I think the way France is playing, I would be tempted to give them a little edge over England at this point in time. Sorry, Imran.
I disagree.
Sorry.
No, but you're right, Satish. You've summed it up right. The way France are playing, they're the defending champions as well. They're going to be up for that one. But then so are England. It's going to be a very interesting game. Right, tomorrow we've got 2 more games, starting with Morocco against Spain. Sham, Morocco have looked really good. I've been really impressed with them. You know, they've got some good results from that in that group stage. Can they surprise Spain tomorrow?
I think they can, simply because Spain is still not a very solid side. They are a very enterprising, very creative side, but they're a very young side. But if you look at, they have lost in the previous games also in the group stages, which points the fact that there's a fragility in their defense. Okay, they're going forward. They were good. They were intricate passing, and they build the moves very well. Fine, that's all great. But the thing is, they tend to be caught off guard on the counters. So here is where Morocco is very dangerous. They can be fast. They can be very nippy. They can be all over you on the counters. That is where the Achilles spot for Spain. So I think Morocco has got a very good chance.
Satish, we could be in for a really good game of football. Like Sham says, Spain's young team, the guys like Gavi, Pedri, Ferran Torres, up against Morocco's quality players like Ziyech and Hakimi. I personally think we're going to be seeing a very high-scoring game here, and it could be going all the way to penalties. Do you think this could be another decider on spot kicks?
It could be spot kicks, but somehow my gut feeling says that Spain could still sneak through, because what happens is, again, like what we talked about yesterday, the experience, the past performances, these all play a part in the knockout stages, where group stages are entirely different from the knockout stages. Group stages, you have a second chance, you have a third chance, so you kind of know, you can plan your move. But here, knockout, on that day, the moment, so that's where I think the experience might count. Of course, Spain could be an young team, but they are a very quality side as well. So I would give Spain the chance tomorrow, though it's going to be an extremely close contest, Imran.
Yeah, I think so. It's going to be a very exciting contest as well. And the other one is Portugal against Switzerland. Sham, give me a prediction there.
I think Portugal has enough quality to put over or get past Switzerland. I mean, when you think of Portugal, only Ronaldo comes to mind. But I think this Portugal team is much more than Ronaldo. I mean, Bruno, to me, more than Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes has been the man for me in this World Cup. He has been literally carrying this Portuguese side. So not just Bruno Fernandes. Then there you have Bernardo Silva. Then you have Joa. I forget his name. The guy on the right. And there are a lot more quality players. Like there's Cancelo there. So many quality players in the. I think this is easily the best Portuguese side I've seen in recent times. Because earlier, when you look at the Portugal side, the only guys you can make out is Ronaldo and Pepe. Beyond that, it's just the other guys are just filling their roles. But this is not the case. This is a side which for every position they have quality players, which is why I would say Portugal should win in regulation time tomorrow.
Satish, Portugal will be looking to reach the quarterfinals of the World Cup for just the third time. They previously done that in 1966 and 2006. I personally think that they're going to blow Switzerland away. Switzerland have been very negative and very cagey, and they just sit back. Teams that do that more often than not end up losing. Like Sham says, Portugal's got a lot of quality there. Do you also think Portugal should breeze through this one, get to the quarterfinals?
Absolutely. I think the way they have been playing, they should go through against Switzerland, and like even I think that way, because they have the quality, and of course you have the magic man in front who could create at least one penalty or the other. Somehow or the other, he can create a penalty. So he is there up front. So I think I'll go with Portugal.
Yeah, with him up front, anything can happen. Right, guys, that's it for us for tonight. Head to golfnews.com for all the latest news, reviews, and videos. And, of course, check us out on social media. We'll be back tomorrow to see how the games go. In the meantime, take care and good night.